So today we're going to be doing a very special segment called Quick Financial Tips from Your Colleagues. And I have two fabulous guests here who are very precious to me, Doctors Andrew Caraganis and Dr. Emily Van Kirk. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm very, very thrilled to have them. So welcome back to More Money Minutes for Doctors. As you know, I'm your host, Katherine Vessenes. I'm the CEO and founder of MD Financial Advisors. And before we get started, if you've got any questions or anything you'd like us to cover in a future episode, please reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. And it's very kind of you if you wouldn't mind subscribing and following us. It helps the algorithm so we can get this information out to more doctors. All right, so let's get started. So Andrew, tell us about your specialty, how many years you've been in the practice.
So I'm a pulmonary critical care physician working here in the Twin Cities. I have been out of fellowship now for close to 7 years. And I do both pulmonary and critical care and a large trauma one center here locally. And we've been working together going all the way back to when we were in residency in Providence, Rhode Island.
2012, to be exact.
13 years.
Can you imagine before kids? Yes, I know it's been a really, really, really long time. So Emily, tell us about you.
So I'm internal medicine. I do hospital medicine, also here in the Twin Cities, and now for over 10 years. So
now, where did you guys meet?
Medical school.
Medical school.
It was okay. Well, I've never told you this, but there was something very special about that first day that we met, because you had just come off your summer vacation and you had done all sorts of research into public service loan forgiveness. And you laid out all the research for me, and I'm like, I'm completely flummoxed. That's how you would spend your summer, and the level of detail and research that you had done. But the big thing that you did actually was you let me know how badly doctors needed this help, what I think of as debt relief from having medical school loans. So I've never said this to you before, but thank you, because that's one of the services that we now offer, and I really owe it to you for spurring us on to be able to do that for other doctors. So thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for that. All right, so let's talk about our first question. Do you have 2 money tips that you would give to younger doctors? So I'll start with Andrew on this one.
Something that Emily and I both sort of is a big focus, I think, on a month-to-month basis, is sort of having an idea of what your budget is. And obviously that budget changes based a little bit on what money is coming in, whether you're in residency or as an attending. So having an idea of sort of exactly what your budget is so that you know where finances can go, I think is an important thing. Number 2, if you're able to get into public service loan forgiveness, get into it. It's a huge savings, although it's over a 10-year process working in a not-for-profit organization. But we both just got our loans forgiven here recently in the last 6 months after 10 plus years. So that would be my other tip, is sort of finding out more about that, seeing whether you qualify and getting enrolled in that.
Well, I have to tell you, that was a painful process for you guys, because I can remember the day you were in my office in Rhode Island and telling me that Roger Williams was no longer a not-for-profit.
Yes.
Yeah, we lost a few years.
We did, yes.
And that meant some extra years, and we just had to work around it. So that was an ugly day, but it was like, and I remember we went through the options, but you didn't want to switch residency programs, so
it's hard. It's almost impossible to do that.
Right. So we just had to tough it out. So Emily, about you, what are your 2 money tips for younger doctors?
I think the 2 things that I think of are pace yourself and everything in moderation. So I think a lot of times when you come out of residency, you feel like you have to catch up because you have friends who are not physicians who have been making money for a while. And so you feel like you need to get up to speed. And I think that is a recipe for burnout. And so you will get there, you will catch up, but I think not to put the pressure on yourself, right up front to try and get there. And then also everything in moderation. When we were in residency, we were still able to save for a down payment on a house,
Right.
but we still did things that we wanted to do and enjoy living in Providence. We still made an effort to, go out to eat once a week and, enjoy the local, uh, cuisine.
Which is fabulous
great
in
in
Providence.
Providence. So I think, and we still did vacations. And so I think, still being able to, live your life and enjoy things, but you can still save at the same time.
That is so huge. I absolutely think if we can get that message across, you can still have a great life and save at the same time. So I see some doctors getting into trouble because they think very sequentially, like, well, I have to do this first and then I can start saving. And then somehow that savings never, ever happens. The other piece that you kind of hit upon that I think of as act your wage. Yes, I've got neurologists, emergency med doctors. They're making 400,000 or so a year, which, let's face it, is a lovely income compared to a lot of America. But it is not the income of an orthodontist who's making $1.5 million per year, right? So they can frequently not put their kids through private school and still do polo and still join the country club and whatever, because they just don't have enough revenue to do that. So I love your approach. All right, number 2, Emily, I'm gonna start with you here. What are 2 things that you're doing that make your financial life easier, maybe simpler and less stressful?
Well, first and foremost, we work with you, so that that helps us.
I did not ask you, I didn't ask you.
But it does. I mean, I think it's always good to have a sounding board and someone you can ask questions to. And even if it's something simple that comes up, shooting off an email and, getting a question answered. I think the big thing came up recently with having Fidelity not having us not
Right.
be able to have direct management of their accounts anymore. But on my own, that would have been very problematic, but I was able to have a video conference with Josh and get it done quick and easy. And so I think that that's super, super helpful. And I think a little bit back to what Andrew said, kind of for about money tips, is kind of having a budget and having an idea of where your money is going and, what are the, bills that you have, and making sure you do have a concept of it.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that we started doing fairly early on. I've never shared this with you, but we'd be recommending to clients that maybe they do an inexpensive disability policy or an inexpensive life insurance policy because they've got kids, right? And then I noticed the doctors would kind of blink at me and go, well, I don't know if I could afford $100 per month. And it showed me that they really had no idea where their money was going. So we've added as part of our process early on in onboarding, we actually have a meeting with clients now to go through their budget, where is everything, so they know where everything is going. Now, we often never circle back to it, but at least it gives them a framework once for what they're doing, and so they can see how much can they afford for vacations or the new car or what have you. Yeah, I really like that about you guys. All right, Andrew, your time to chime
We
in.
did not coordinate answers, but obviously having a financial advisor working with you for the past 13 years is, because I have very little knowledge in this field. And so being able to, you're agreeing, being able to have somebody who can take away all the stress of having to sift through where money is going in terms of brokerage accounts or, retirement accounts, not having to worry about that, obviously for me makes life much less stressful. The other thing specifically for us is having maybe one person in the house, in this case Emily, that sort of has an idea of exactly where the money is going. I think we will communicate back and forth where there are pressure points, but having somebody to sort of know exactly where your money is going can it avoids having surprises at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Every household needs at least one person. If you can't get both of you, at least one person that knows where everything is going. And I'm so grateful that you guys would say those kind of things about us. I didn't ask you to say that, as you well know, but it really means a lot to me.
Well, I think said this to Andrew before, you hire an accountant because they majored in accounting and they know how to do that. We did not major in accounting, but people come to see us in the office because they don't know how to manage their COPD
Right.
or their diabetes, and that's what we learned how to do. So you seek the people with, areas of expertise. So
Thank you. Very kind of you, and I totally agree with that. Now, Andrew, my last question, you said I was going to pose, is there anything you wish you had done differently? And you said there was actually something you wish you had done differently.
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to medical school, right? So Emily and I both went to medical school in the Caribbean, and cost was significantly more in some aspects. And so, we end up taking out loans to cover housing, tuition,
Sure.
books. And as a whatever I was, young 20s, not having any idea that taking out the max amount of loans was the wrong idea, because you want to make sure you had enough money to cover all expenses. But if you're very frugal up front and sort of say take out just enough to cover the basic means, you'll be left with far less student loans down the road. And so certainly if I had been a little bit more thoughtful, or we've talked about, there should be some sort of class in medical school about finances and how to manage this stuff when you've never had to do that before, right? So that's probably something I would have done differently. Regardless of the loans were eventually wiped away, there was a considerable amount of capital that went into paying down those month by month anyways, right? So
And a fair amount of stress.
sure.
Oh my gosh.
100%.
And I could feel your stress as we're trying to work through it. And that's part of my
Yeah.
goal, is how can we get this feeling less stressful? At least we got a plan out there. I will tell you, I really fault medical schools with this, because I think those young doctors come in with the idea, oh, I'm going to be making so much money later. These debts are going to be really easy to pay off. And they haven't actually crunched the numbers to realize what a huge portion of their salaries could be going to pay these debts.
Mhm.
For sure.
I mean, we've had clients that are paying $4,000 or $5,000 a month to pay off medical
Oh, at
debt.
least, yeah.
And maybe you've got
Mhm.
colleagues even more.
Even I would say there's even more, yeah.
And that doesn't leave a lot left over
Mhm.
when you're in a higher salary.
Right.
So I agree to your point so much, Andrew. If you could live a little more frugally early on, it saves a lot later. And particularly those student debts are at such a high interest rate. It's
Right.
I'm sorry, it's upsetting to me. I'm going to get on my soapbox. It shouldn't be that high rate. All right. Well, thank you so much for being candid and honest and helping out our audience with your own personal stories. I really, really appreciate that. So takeaways today: look for budgets. Yes, you can be more frugal, kind of plan ahead, have somebody in your household that kind of manages all of this. Work with a trusted advisor, because they can help pull all of this together for you. Did I miss anything in the summary?
I don't think so.
Oh,
Think so.
awesome. I forgot to mention early on something that our friends at the SEC want me to tell you. And first of all, this is just an educational program, our broadcast on our podcast. But also, I have not paid Andrew and Emily anything to get them to do this today. I didn't offer any bribes or give them anything of significance. I did take them out to lunch, but they were, being the frugal people that they are, they asked me to go to a noodle place. So it was a very cost-effective lunch. But other than that, is that fair that I haven't given you anything or
Correct.
to ask you to do this?
Not to my knowledge.
They're just doing this out of the goodness of their hearts, and they just have such a passion, like I do, for helping doctors with their finances. All right, in closing, once again, remember to follow us on social media. And if you've got any questions at all, you can reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com. So remember, take care of yourself, plan, protect, and prosper.
These statements are from a current client and may not be representative of the experience of other clients and do not guarantee future performance or success. The client has not been indirectly or directly compensated for this interview. MD Financial Advisors is not aware of any material conflicts of interest between this client and the firm. Additional information, including management fees and expenses, is provided on our Form ADV Part 2, available upon request, or at the SEC's Investment Advisor Public Disclosure website. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Feel free to reach out to us at info@mdfinancialadvisors.com or visit our website at mdfinancialadvisors.com.